Hello and welcome to a new tutorial from MOO ICT. In this tutorial I will show you how to make a multiple choice quiz game with WPF and C# inside of Visual Studio. Let's run this project. We have 10 total questions in this game. Each question will load with its own image attached. Once you click on a button, it will take you to the next question until you reach the end of the game. Each time the game loads, or when the game ends, it will randomize a list of questions and show a different order of questions inside of the game. The game will keep score on how many questions were answered correctly before it sets back to 0 when it restarts. So you can see the list of questions that we have on the top here on the label. If I restart the game, the list changes and it will randomize the questions and show that question that comes up first. So we're going to be making this game inside of WPF and C#. So let's go and make a new project. Let's click on create a new project. Make sure you choose the WPF.NET framework. Next, let's call this one quiz game WPF MOO ICT. Click create. Okay, so to begin with the project, what I've done is I've downloaded some games images from Google. Basically, you can just use any image for your quiz game. So I'm going to import these into the Solutions Explorer. So if I go and right click on the Solutions Explorer there, click on add, make a new folder, call this one images, right click on the images folder here, and then I could put existing items, downloads, okay. Notice that all of these items are JPEGs, so if you are importing them, make sure you reference JPEG, PNG, GIFs appropriately in your code. So with the images imported, now let's go and change the title of the app. Well, this one simple quiz game. I'm going to change the height of this one to 600. So it's going to be a 600 by 800. Change the grid to a canvas. We can also work similar way into a grid as well, but I prefer to work in a canvas, so it's just down to your choice really. Okay, let's give the canvas name only my canvas. This one a background dark gray. So it's a bit darker so the text and the images pop a little bit more. Make some space. I might make this one a bit smaller so we can see the text better here. Okay, first I'm going to need a label. This one, name. This one is called score text. Font size 18. Tag here. Says score 0 out of 10. So see where the placement is. So the placement is right there for us. I'm going to duplicate this line. This. Okay. Call this one question order. So you can do the game without this label as well. I like to have this one because it just shows me how the randomization has worked. Okay, and just call this one questions, and I'm going to move this one right in the middle there. Okay, let's make an image. So the name of the image is going to be Q image. Let's go with the source, say images/1.jpg. Okay, stretch be uniform, so it's not stretching to the size. Okay. Let's set the height of this one to 286 and width to 572. So if we end the tag there, so the image actually shows up here. So what we're going to do is we can move the image right here in the middle. After that, we're going to do a text block for the question. So it's going to be name txt question. Okay. Text alignment will be center. Give it about 3 padding. Font size 20. Give the width to 572. Yeah, so it's the same width as the image. So we want the text to be right under where the image is. And then we're going to interesting. We need to do a text wrap here as well. Set text wrapping to wrap. Okay, so inside of this tag, what we can do, we can just type some long line here and just wanted to see how it fits inside of the wrap. Okay, so let's say hi. This game. Okay, so now if you can see that, so see it wraps that question, so it doesn't matter how long your question is, it actually wraps the inside of that. So this is one good way to sort of check that the question is actually working. Okay, so that's the questions there. We'll do the extra space from here. Okay, now we're going to need 4 buttons that's going to show the answers, and it's going to be placed right here. Okay, so let's do one button first. So I'll say button, do a background, DAX summon. Okay, font size can be 18. Click. So this is the click event, right? So we're going to make one called check answer. Okay, let's give this one a name called NS1. So it's the answer one. Width set to 200, height set to 50. Okay, content can be answer one in this case, and we also need a tag. So tags are going to be quite important to identify the answers. Yeah, let's leave that. So when we actually move the component, so right now it's placed there, when we move it, it does similar thing for every single component. So for example, it's done the same for the text block and the image. I can just move that here. Then as you can see, it adds the little canvas left and canvas top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this one once. Okay, I'm going to change that to answer 2. Change that to answer 2 as well. And then I'm going to bring this one down here. Okay, duplicate it again. Change that to answer 3. That to answer 3. Then move that to say about, yeah, here's fine. Okay, change this one now again to answer 4. And then to answer 4. So I'm duplicating the keys. When I press a line, just press Ctrl D and it will duplicate that line. Let's move this one down. Okay, it's nice and synchronized. So right now we have the top labels set up, the image set up, the question set up, all the buttons set up. So it's time to go into the C# code. Okay, so each button has the same event linked to them, which is the the check answer. So if I just right click on one of them and say go to definition, that will add the event there for us. All right, so under this check answer, we're going to go and make a few custom functions. So say private void restart game. So we need another one called private void next question, and then another one private, move that up, private void start game. Okay, so these are the functions that we're going to need. Let's go and add the variables for this game. Okay, so right on the top here. Okay, so let's make our first variable. So let's go and make a list of integers. Name this one question numbers here. Okay, equals to new list. Okay, so right in here we can actually give the numbers that we want inside of this. So inside of here is going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and then 10. The reason we're using a list instead of an array is because it's a lot easier for us to shuffle the numbers inside of a list. So these contents here, we want to shuffle them every time the game loads. Okay, let's make it another int here called qnum. We'll give that one a 0, int I, and then let's go. Inside the main window constructor, we are going to run the start game function, and then we'll run the next questions function. Let's do the check answer. So the reason we used a tag is because what we're going to do is we're going to identify which of these buttons holds the right answer. So we're going to be using the tag to identify that. So let's go and see how that works. So we're going to make a button class here, and we're going to reference it to the sender of the button. Okay, so sender button equals sender as button. Okay, let's say if sender button dot tag dot toString, right, equals 1. Okay, so if any of the buttons have a tag of 1 instead of a 0, then that's the right answer. Okay, in that case we're gonna add 1 to the score. So next we're going to set the qnum, that's the current question number. If that is below 0, set qnum to 0. Okay, and if it isn't, then qnum is going to be ++, so it adds 1 to the integer each time the button's pressed. Okay, score text dot content is equals to answered correctly plus score, let's do a slash here, plus question number dot count. So it's going to say answer correctly this out of 10. Yeah, so if you do have like more questions, you can simply just add them on this list, and then it should work appropriately from there. Okay, and then the last bit is going to be next question function. So once it does all of that on the click, then we just go and run the next question from there. Okay, so inside the restart function, basically going to say score set to 0, right? Qnum is going to be set to -1 because it always increments it whenever it starts. So what we want to do is we want it to sort of not start straight away, so the player will have to double click on a button to start the game again. Right, then we set the I to 0, and then let's do the start game function here. Okay, so before the next question, let's do the start game function. Inside the start game function, we will randomize the list. The solution, when I was looking for the solution for this one, I found it on this Stack Overflow question. So it's basically about randomizing a list, and one of the answers that was given was very subtle, and it basically solved the problem in one line. So all it does is like it orders it and then randomizes it using a GUID, and then assigns a new GUID per item inside the list. So let's just take a look at how this actually applies to this project variable. Let's call this one random list. Okay, and then we'll go to question numbers list here, and then say order by. Okay, inside the order by, we're gonna do a bracket here. Inside of that, we'll say this is a local variable called a, and then we're gonna check for where a is greater than GUID, like so, and let's do a new GUID and then run that here. Okay, and outside of that, we'll just say toList, then just convert whatever it finds into this random list here. Okay, and then after that, we will say question numbers equals random list. Okay, so basically the first one will take everything from inside of it, randomize it, and then the second one we will assign it back to the original source. So this one, the question order dot content equals to null. This line here will empty the label, and then after that we need to run a for loop. So int I, so this one is going to be question numbers dot count, right? So because we have 10 questions, it's going to go loop through each of them. Okay, and then we can say here question order dot content is going to be plus equals, so we want to add to it. Okay, plus question numbers, and then set the I here, so as you're looping through to increment with it, so toString. Okay, so this way whenever it runs, it will add whatever number is inside of each of them with a space between them. Just to show how this works, so let me just go stop this one now. Okay, so as you can see, it went through the list, right, and then it went and randomized it. So if we start here again, it will randomize it again. So that works quite well. So by doing that, we can actually have that random question effect, because since the question numbers have been randomized, even if we increment using the similar method here, we get different questions based on what number we are at. Okay, so now let's start on the next questions function. So this is going to be the longest function in this game. Okay, so first let's start with qnum is if it's still less than question numbers dot count. So if it's still less than the number of questions available in this game, and then we're going to say I equals to question numbers, and this is where qnum becomes handy. We're going to link qnum right in there. So if qnum is equals to, let's say 3, it's going to go for the third question, but since it's being randomized, whatever number the third one is unindexed, that's the one that we're going to get. Okay, and if it goes above the number of questions that we have, we can just run the restart function, so that way we play the game again from start. Okay. For each question that is answered, we need to do a for each loop here. So I'm going to say var x in my canvas dot children dot of type. Okay, we are looking for button inside of this canvas. Okay, so each button is going to have their tags reset to 0. Okay, also we're going to set the background of each button to rushes dot dark salmon. Okay, so now let's do a switch statement here. We're going to look for I, the value of I, because I is being linked to the value of whatever number that this comes up with, right? So here we can say case 1, right? You can just say txt question dot text equals to whatever the question that we want to ask. So I'm just going to leave it as question 1 here for now. Okay, and then once we have the answers, so ANC text, oh, not text, sorry, content is going to be equals to, let's say answer 1 is to content equals to answer 2, so 3, duplicate the line, I think it'd be easier, then that would be answer 4. So out of these answers, so because it's a multiple choice one, so out of these answers we need to pick a answer that's going to be correct. So I'm just going to put, like, say this one is a correct answer in this case, right? So you can have any number of questions, but the real trick happens is, say for answer 2 here dot tag, right? We're going to change the tag of this one to 1. So unless the second button is clicked, right, then the score is not going to count, because what we're doing here is we're looking for if the button that's clicked has a tag of 1. If it doesn't, then we just move to the next question anyway, but if it does, then we add 1 to the score. Okay, but since we're just doing dummy questions, it's a lot easier for us to check it with a answer that's correct there. Okay, and second, we're going to do the q image dot source is going to be equals to new bitmap image here. Okay, do that. Let's say new URI. Inside the URI, you can go and say pack colon / application colon 3 commas / images.1.jpg. Now, as you can imagine, the rest of them are going to follow suit pretty much similar way. So I'm just going to copy and paste this one and just change the case to 2, 3, 4, and then so on. Okay, so this one is question 2. That's fine. I'll leave that there. Then you change that to 2 here. Okay, so this one, instead of having that, so let's say this is question 1 is correct. Okay, let's move to question number 3. So this one gonna be number 3 is correct. Okay, a mistake here, that's not gonna find it. So images slash with full stop there. Okay, so now let's go to question number 4. Also, instead of that one, it's gonna be this one, and then this one case is gonna be number 4 is correct. That one's number 1 is correct. That one's number 2 is correct. Okay. Number 4 here. Question number 5. Say number 1 is correct in this case. Number 6. In this case, I say number 3 is correct. Number 6. Seven. Number 2 is correct at number 7. 2. That is number 7 here. Number 8. This one, number 4 can be correct then. That's fine. Okay. Number 9. We're gonna have number 3. Then 10. Okay. Having the title actually helps seeing which question that we actually at. So let's say this one is correct here. Number 1 there, and then this is going to be number 10. Then we go up to 10, don't we? Yes, we do. Prince of Persia. Okay, so since we got all of the questions there set, okay, I think that's about it. So of course these are all dummy questions, and you can fill them up with your own question. You can have them questions relative to the images. Okay, so I think we are ready to give this one a go. Let's see. So it starts off with number 7. So we go with question number 7. So let's go and see if number 7 is the Dark Souls image. Yes, it is. Okay. So we got that. So if I click on the correct one, I should get a score. Let's click on all the correct ones for now. Then it goes to number 8. Okay, which is the Witcher 3. Yep. Click on the correct one again. Number 3. Number 3 is 3. Number 5 is 1. Okay, then we are on the 10th question. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, and then finally we are on number 10. Okay, so right now we scored 10 out of 10. So as soon as I clicked on the last one, you notice that the numbers changed on the top, but the pictures hasn't changed quite yet. That's why we did the -1. So we wanted it to have 2 clicks before we can move to the next round. Okay, so if I click on a button there, then it actually starts off again with the answer, answered correctly, set back to 0. And this time we start off with question 1. Now if I click on some of the wrong answers, let's see if the scores go up. Nope, scores not going up. So right now we're on 3, it should be 5 next, then it should be 2, should be 9. Now the last one is 7, and then if I click again, that changes, and we are back to question number 3. The full source code for this game is in the link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one.